I came across a concept from entrepreneur Sahil Bloom recently called the 2.5x salary fallacy. And the idea is this. Regardless of what you currently earn, most people believe that making roughly 2.5 times their current income would finally make them feel secure and happy. So the person who earns 40K wants 100K. The person who earns 100K wants 250K, and the $1 million earner wants 2.5 million. This is not a scientific law, but it is a pattern that keeps showing up. And when I heard it, I recognized it immediately, not just in clients, but in myself too. We tend to all want 2 to 3 times as much as we currently have, and we think when we hit that milestone, we will have one. But the truth is, the number keeps moving. When you hit the goal, your brain resets the target, which means if you are spending your life building towards a number, you are building towards something that will never actually arrive. And that's what this episode is about. I've got a bunch of mindset shifts and insights from the past month of working with clients, and we're going to talk about what to build towards instead while you're also making money. Hello, and welcome to Fail to Win, a show where we love to make mistakes and learn from them so you can turn your passion into profits and live life on your own terms. I'm Amy van der Putten from FastForwardAmy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode with simple strategies every Tuesday. I've just come off of my most concentrated month of client work I have had in a long time. I went to Ibiza with my Self-Made Millionaire clients. I had my Gold Mastermind workshop and dinner straight after. I have had a full month of coachings, basically just back-to-back rooms, both virtually as well as physically, rooms full of women who are building seriously ambitious things. And you know what? The same conversation kept happening everywhere. Different women, different businesses, different groups, different revenue numbers. Yet all of them had this same tension underneath. The tension is this. I've built something real. Objectively, I'm doing a good job. And I've hit some goals. And yeah, the me from 5 years ago would be proud. So why does it not feel like I thought it would? And why do I feel so restless? Because most of us, and I'm not too cool to admit that I have struggled with this too, we're waiting for a revenue number to hit it to answer that question. But the revenue alone is never enough to actually feel like it's okay, it's good enough, and we've finally arrived. So I want to let you in on a couple of the mindset shifts my clients have made, I have made in the past. I've also gotten coaching on this, and I want to just talk you through this, because if you also feel like, why do I not feel like I thought I would at this point? This episode might be just perfect for you. So the first mindset shift is that rich is not a number. So if we look at the 2.5x fallacy, this connects to something psychologists call the hedonic treadmill. Difficult words. As your income goes up, your expectations go up with it. And it's not because you're greedy or ungrateful or something, but it's just because that is how your brain works. So every time you are close to the finish line, it moves as you get close to it, which means the finish line was never real in the first place. And I have personally sat in rooms with women who have crossed numbers, revenue numbers, whichever numbers, most people can only dream about. I had a client last month who had a wait list of over 9,000 people for a product, and she was still doubting herself. The number did not make them free. It's the decisions they have made about how to use the number did. So I look at it as this, and I've not always looked at it this way. Rich is not a revenue milestone. It's actually not what's in your bank account, but it is what's in your day. For some, it could mean being able to pick up your kids from school without being exhausted and snapping at them or asking anyone for permission. For someone else, it could be taking a holiday and your business running without you. For others, it could be waking up on a Tuesday and choosing what you work on, not being dictated by your inbox or you being, at the whims of your clients who need you urgently. And for me, for example, rich is today. So I want to let you in on what I did today. A while back, I changed my calendar. And for me, I have made my Mondays and Wednesdays, like 90% of the time, they are people free. So I get to work on strategy and creation because I'm an amazing coach, if I may say so myself. I can give so much energy to people, but only if I get enough time and white space to myself as well to create and just work from passion and not be boxed in by my calendar every day. So on Wednesdays, I work out in the morning. Like today, my alarm clock was set at 8:30, which I think a lot of adult business owner people will be like, what, so late? But I love that. Got my 8 hours of sleep in. Then I had a workout at 9. Then I had a bit of a slow breakfast. And then I went for a walk to come up with new podcast episodes. And I practiced those episodes. Then I had lunch with my boyfriend. And then I started recording. And that's where I am right now. I did not put makeup on. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not even shower today. I thought I was going to do that after my workout. I did not, because Wednesday is my I am creative and let me do whatever the fuck I want day. And I love that. And the thing is, I don't even want to go and do something else. I love podcasting. I love this so, so much. And what I love even more is that my calendar gives me the freedom to decide how I'm doing it this way. And then I first went for an hour-long walk to look at which episodes I was making. And so the money that you're making makes those choices possible. But it's the choices and the freedom that are the actual point. So what I would suggest is, instead of building towards a revenue number, what if you worked towards a specific Wednesday you want to live? Get really concrete about what you want. What time does your day start? What do you do? What do you not do anymore? Who handles what you're carrying? Because so many women I know, despite the fact that they're making really good money, are still carrying way too much that they could be delegating, letting go of, or just like not guilt tripping themselves about. I have so many women who have businesses, or I know so many women and coach so many women who have businesses, and they don't feel weird about paying their accountant a lot of money, but they dream of having a housekeeper, but they never stop and actually ask themselves, what would it cost and am I willing to pay to have someone else cook for me? If you can't describe what your rich life, not a business, but your rich life looks like in specific detail, it's really hard to build towards it. And then you're just working hard in the general direction of more, which will often end up you doing more. And I'm not going to be the guru who's like, oh, I've got this all figured out. No, I'm like actively working on this. Changed my calendar a few weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago, I went on a trip with my family and actually actively worked towards like, okay, how can I be as present as possible when I am in Italy with my family? And I know that sometimes I get caught up in the trap of doing more. But the thing is, I've just really realized that there is no use in working hard until, I don't know, the end of times or towards a certain goal and to not enjoy your life in the meantime. Because for me personally, the goal used to be to finish my to-do list, but I'm at the point in a scaling business where there will always be a to-do list. There will always be running projects, clients with questions. There will always be something on fire. And the goal has not been to put out the fires or to finish the to-do list. The goal has become to feel good while the business is dynamic and growing and sometimes running into trouble. Which brings me to mindset shift number 2. And this is a trap not enough people are talking about. When you start a business and you start getting good at what you do and you want to find your first clients, trading your time for money makes a lot of sense. It's also necessary because you have to build your skills and you have the time. So you start exchanging your time for money and you build your skills. This is how it starts. And to be fair, a lot of people try to start an online business without building up expertise. And I think this is a logical first step, just like I explained in last week's episode about scaling. So definitely go and check that out. The problem is that most business owners never stop doing that. They just do it at higher prices with higher pressure. They go from charging $50 an hour to $100 an hour to $500 an hour, and they're quote unquote scaling. But the model is identical. And the moment that they stop, the income stops, often with a higher cost ceiling. So this is basically a more expensive version of the same fragility in your income and in what you're delivering. And so what's really hard to change in this is that it works because you can build a really nice income this way. So it's not really urgent to fix it. I have a lot of my friends, for example, who are not employed by an employer anymore, but they become self-employed, but then they have one big client, a lot of clients this way as well. They want to scale away from their time, but they are charging really nicely. They might sometimes be charging $600, $800, $1,000 a day to work for a certain client. And it's so good because sometimes it feels like really easy money. So it's not really urgent to fix until it becomes urgent to fix because you get sick and you can't send your invoice, or until you want to take a real month off and you feel like, you became self-employed to have freedom, but then you feel like every time you take a month off, you don't have any income, so you won't go on that trip to Bali. And then you think, okay, I'm going to build something that doesn't require me to be present every day, but I don't have any time to build it because I'm required to be present to trade more time for money. And this is the trap where you get stuck. Because if you could not work for 30 days, what would happen to your revenue? Not what you would hope would happen, but what would actually happen. And if the answer is that it would stop, I'm not saying that is a failure, because I don't agree with everyone posting online like, if you can't take a month off, you are your own employee. I think like that's a lot of money shaming and like business and skill shaming that we're doing there. Honestly, when I'm gone for a month with my current team, okay, my income would not disappear. There would still be sales coming in. My team would take up some of the delivery towards clients. But are they gonna come up with the most extremely imaginative creative campaign? Probably not. They might come up with a new launch. They might be able to execute it, but like, unless they're replacing me with an AI clone or something, or just doing it text-based, like they probably won't achieve what I would achieve, but the business would still be running and they would know how to run it. And a lot of the business has been set up in a way that it runs. So I'm not saying this to be like, oh, you suck. If you go away from your business for a month and your income drops, you suck. No, like my income would drop a bit as well. But I do want to ask that question. Like, if you could not work for 30 days, what would happen to your revenue? If your answer is there would be zero coming in, this is just very honest information about where you currently are in your business. And you are currently a glorified freelancer. I don't want you to panic. This is also not judgment. I have been there and I coach a lot of people through this. And it's totally fine if you feel happy about where you are. But if you are feeling a bit on edge and you want to make changes, we can make a couple of structural decisions so you can start putting a little bit more distance between, your hours and your income, and maybe stretch it to it not fully blowing up when you're gone. If you're interested in how you can start scaling away from your time, by the way, last week's episode is about 5 ways to scale, also the atypical ones you don't know about maybe, and they will really help you to scale up your income without scaling up your hours. So this is, in terms of mindset shifts and what I talked about with my clients, for my clients who are anywhere between like multi-6 figures to $1 million, and even the ones who are working towards their first 10 million year, the biggest one here is realizing that in different levels of your business, you're actually still trading time for money. It might be with your team. It might be because you are doing tasks that actually someone else could do, or maybe you're even doing tasks that are redundant or not automating stuff with AI. Like, we are in such a rapidly evolving space right now, but like, just don't get stuck in your own trap was what I'm saying. It's not because you always did it that way that you have to continue doing it that way. Okay, then a third mindset shift. We already talked about this, but this one came up again and again this month in Ibiza, in the Gold Mastermind, and other sessions with clients in a business club. These are the conversations that happen at dinner when everyone has stopped putting on a cool mask and stopped performing, and once they start just being honest with each other. So many of us postpone our lives, our days, our date nights until the business is ready. Oh, I'll slow down when I hit that revenue number. Oh, I'll take that trip when the team is more stable. Oh, I'll turn off the phone when the launch is done. Oh, babe, we'll go on the date night, when I don't have 5 emails to respond to. Launch after launch, milestone after milestone. Your actual life keeps getting pushed forwards. And it might not be that you're actually skipping out on it. You might be at the birthday party. You might be at dinner or at the date night. But your brain is not there. And this is something 80% of my clients admit to, which is why I'm recording this episode. What I've learned in the past couple of years, and again, very honest, I'm actively working on because I have a busy brain as well. A rich life is not something we earn. It's actually something we design into how we are currently running things, not perfectly, but just like very, very deliberately, like what is a rich life? And so the women were I saw that they had made this shift. They weren't necessarily working less. Some of them working just as many hours as before, but they felt lighter and more calm. It's because they stopped waiting for permission to grant themselves what they wanted. They stopped saying, oh, when I hit that goal, I will allow myself to buy this reward. When I hit that goal, I'll be able to calm down. They started rewarding themselves and calming down despite, like, regardless of hitting the goals. And they decided that the business was just a vehicle they were riding in, but not the end destination that they had to give everything up for. And so I think why I talk so much currently about like your rich life, not just what's in your bank account, but what's in your days, is that I find that there's a little bit of a narrative in the online space, which is either hustle, or super wellness. So it's like the wellness space, like if you want real peace in your life, you need to want less, not be capitalist, slow down, scale back. But my clients and myself, we want it all. And I don't think ambition is the problem. It's when we are a little bit too unhinged. Like when you're building for the sake of building, and you don't have a clear model, you don't know what's actually your non-negotiable. So this is something I always do with my clients. It's like, okay, so where do you want to go business-wise? Because I'm a business coach. And then I'm like, okay, first session, what are your non-negotiables? For some, this is, I want slow mornings because I suck in the morning. For others, it's my kids always come first and I want to be able to always cancel anything in my calendar. For others, it's I always want to be able to work remotely and I don't mind working for high-ticket clients, but I want to do it from anywhere. And so once you start building with intention, having goals, knowing that the joy will lie in the process, not in a destination or achieving that goal, and actually having your non-negotiables in place, it's going to become a lot more fun, and your ambition will start feeling fun instead of maybe threatening. Because I feel like a lot of women start to negotiate and give up at a certain point where they're like, it's either or. And I believe it gets to be a yes and. So I sat with a client in Ibiza and she said something I have not stopped thinking about. And she said, I spent years building towards this. And then I hit my highest profit year ever. And then I got there. I was happy for like 5 minutes. And then I realized I felt awful and just exhausted. And I didn't even know how to enjoy it. We're so trained for the chase. We all want the next goal and the launches and the milestones and the profit numbers. And then everyone on Instagram shows that. But when you actually arrive at the goal, what I've noticed is that a lot of us, myself included in the past, and as I said, I'm really growing in that, is that we don't know how to receive it. We don't know how to actually be in the good. And so building the right things is important business-wise and focusing on the right stuff. But being present enough to actually experience it and get the joy out of it is a really big other part, and why I wanted to make this episode. So I wrote down this quote in my notebook. And I said, getting rich is a personal decision. It's a decision to stop treating your life as a reward for working hard and start treating it as the reason for it. And I guess it comes back down to what I already said. Your rich life is not what's in your bank account. It's also what's in your bank account. But we can measure its rich life by how you wake up, how you eat, and by literally what is in your day. And is it giving you energy or is it draining you? So this month on the podcast, we talked about the different room rule, about how I'm 10xing my business in a decade instead of in a year, how my clients are scaling their income without their hours. And today, I hope it made a bit of sense and maybe you had some insights into what you're building towards. And these are all conversations that happen at my masterminds inside of my business club. So if you're currently in a season or situation where you're like, wow, damn, didn't know I need to hear this, but I do want to build a rich life. I don't want to give up my ambition, but I also don't want to destroy my health, my personal life, my freedom, my family time. You are the person I want to coach. I really sat with this. I thought, who is my ideal client? Because I've coached all kinds of people. I've coached the people who are narcissists. I've coached people who'll do whatever it takes. But if I'm being really honest, the person I love coaching the most is a person who has ambition and drive and wants to make a big impact and make a lot of money. But she also wants to be in her soft energy with her husband and enjoy it. And I don't mean that in a trad wife sense, but just in a not wait until you're 70 years old to enjoy the life you've built. So if you want to talk to me about if any of my programs are a fit, my masterminds are for multi-six-figure entrepreneurs who want to scale up. So if you're at 100K, 200K, 300K, you want to go to 500,000, 1 million, maybe one of my masterminds is a fit, message me mastermind on Instagram. And if you're feeling, Amy, I want to, but I'm not there yet, I also have other programs. I have my bronze program for people who are wanting to start out and scaling, by going online. Silver is for full-time entrepreneurs who want to scale away from their time. So basically, I know it's a lot, and sometimes people come to me like, I don't know which program is the right fit. It's because I enjoy both coaching the starters as well as the scalers. And depending on where you are in your journey, I want to be able to offer you not the program I like most, but the program that really is tailored to your needs. And on top of that, you'll get a personalized assessment of what you need depending on which program you're walking into. So if you want to chat to me personally and to my team, we're always honest about who you're chatting with. No one will ever pretend they're me and message you. If it's me, you'll know. Message me the word curious on Instagram on FastForwardAmy, and we will hop on a call or get in touch in some way, shape, or form to figure out which coaching level fits where you are right now. We have a challenge that will help you figure out what your first digital product is and how to actually sell it. On the other hand, I also have a 10K sprint where you can start making 10K a month in 90 days. I have such great programs, but I want you to take what you want and need. So message me curious if you want to talk about any programs, and mastermind if one of the masterminds has been on your radar. And I'll link the application form in the mastermind in the show notes as well. And that is a wrap on this month of podcast episodes. I hope to talk to you soon, and thank you for listening. And don't forget to leave a review if you like the podcast. Bye.